Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand. Over the next few minutes here on The Right Stand, we will show to you how a hidden ISIS recruitment network is operating from Kerala all the way up to Khorasan. And these grooming gangs are now spreading their tentacles all across Bharat. How Dalit girls are being indoctrinated and radicalized for terror. From UK to Prayagraj to Kerala, it's the same modus. Are there grooming gangs in Bharat too? Exclusive details have been shared by Manoj Kumar Gupta, Group Editor, Investigations and Security Affairs, Network 18. Let's start with telling you how a growing jihadi network operating out of Kerala is serving as a silent but dangerous conduit, funneling radicalized Bharatiya youth into the ranks of ISIS Khorasan in Afghanistan. Now, this entire matter has come to the fore during an investigation by CNN News 18. And according to top intelligence sources, radical elements in Kerala have turned the state into a key ideological processing center for ISIS recruitment, targeting vulnerable individuals, particularly those who are economically disadvantaged, facing penury, and they are at a position where they are very, very vulnerable, and that too Dalit minors, with promises of A, dignity, B, financial stability, and of course giving them a cause. Now, these recruits are initially drawn in through Gulf-funded Salafi institutions like Peace International School, and then later indoctrinated into covert safe houses across Kerala, and often operated by banned outfits such as the Popular Front of India and its political front, the SDPI. Now, the process is systematic. Once isolated, the recruits are subjected to an intense ideological reprogramming process that lasts between 3 to 6 months, where they are conditioned to a certain extent, where they are totally brainwashed and radicalized. Salafi Wahhabi texts are used to frame the Hindu caste system as oppressive, and jihad is promoted as a form of liberation. Recruits are stripped of cultural identity, renamed and trained in encrypted communication, crypto transactions via Monero, and also basic weapons handling. Most of these recruits, viewers, travel from Kochi or Thiruvananthapuram airports using forged documents, often via Dubai or Istanbul, before reaching the ISIS-controlled territories in Nangarhar or Kunar provinces in Afghanistan. This is that entire Khorasan region. Now, some groups, like the infamous 2016 Kasargod module, used land routes through Sri Lanka and Iran. So, from Kerala into Sri Lanka, and then from Sri Lanka making their way to Iran, and from Iran all the way using the land routes to eventually end in that region of Nangarhar. Now, authorities estimate that between 1,500 to 2,200 foreign fighters are currently embedded in the ISKP ranks in Afghanistan, with Bharatiya being prioritized for operations in so-called the Hind province. So, for the Hind jihad, people from Al-Hind are also being targeted, and this is not limited only to Kerala anymore. It is spread across the region, across the country. They are being identified, tracked, converted, radicalized, and then being sent off. There are more details. We'll share that with you through the course of this conversation. Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, former GOC 15 Corps of the Indian Army, with us. Shashikantji, former IPS, with us. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow IPCS, with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Shashikantji, have you encountered these cases, and how would you see these sort of grooming gangs? Now, in the UK, it caused a huge furor. Here, many tried to wish it away. There were terms used as love jihad by the courts, which did not find public acceptance. But this is a similar toolkit.
Yes, you're right. I think it all started from the Yorkshire scandal in UK. And the same thing, these gangs, grooming gangs are operating here also. Yes, in Punjab, I haven't seen this thing, but since I belong to UP, I've seen several such cases. Keep on going there, interact with my friends, yes. And again, I'll say, it's not a new phenomenon. It has been happening for quite some time. You'll recall that lots of these young girls from Hyderabad and other places, they were taken to, these sheikhs got married and they took them abroad, abandoned them, and then they were trained, and some of them was arrested in Kerala and other places. everybody knows about it. And this love jihad, so-called love jihad, yes, again, I think is doing immense damage because these guys, youngsters who belong to not to very well kind of families, they look at certain persons, so-called social icons, who are married with the Hindu girls. So I think that it is a trend setting kind of thing that they also need to do it. That's from where love jihad started, and now it's come to this stage where these girls are being used for not only for immoral purposes but for even terrorist activities in Afghanistan, as also other places where ISIS operate. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, General Pandey. Through your course of long tenure of service, have you encountered these cases similar to this? Do you have reason to believe that these grooming gangs and this toolkit must spread in our country?
Correct. One has encountered. One is, please understand, it's not a very recent phenomena as has been said. It is a very, very long phenomena. Unfortunately, in our society where the women are supposed to be, not going out and something of this nature happening is akin to a major societal shame, and thereafter is suppressed. The second is there is a law and order machinery which tries and believes to suppress. We should not talk about it openly. Everybody comes to know, and particularly down in the area of Kerala, I am quite aware that about 20 years back also, this concept was already on for it not for in form of conversion actually, but technically using the women, young girls for other purposes which were not so nice purposes. So when there are very soft voices started coming out, there were Kerala girls who were found to be in Afghanistan or in ISIS controlled territory, and they are wanted to come back, or there are challenges and issues. All those information was suppressed, right? So in our society, especially in our Indian society, imagine when in modern societies like UK, Sweden, they want to suppress such event. Well, you can imagine what is happening in India, right? So that is first part. There are money which is involved, How many are you able to convert or able to marry or take them out of the society, of their original society, has also got with mobile numbers roaming around or being circulated in that area, and cost being given out for each type of a girl. And the most unfortunate part is that it is part of a great organized strategy in which the top community leadership, the religious leadership, they accept, they want, they direct, they control this entire thing, and the masculinity of the youth is exploited towards this number game, that how many have you been able to actually groom becomes. The biggest problem also happens is that the girls in the teenage, where you start looking at them, they've not exactly matured. You don't even know how to control, manage and handle. And that time of rebel mentality of a girl is also exploited in this age bracket of about 13 to 15. Earlier, the better, right? Because that shame is much more better to be harnessed, controlled and manipulated for long term. And the worst happens is that in this grooming game, you have got girls who are involved, because that becomes something akin to a religious mission, that I am doing something great for my religion, my cause, by actually luring somebody into my fold for purposes which are larger and much more higher level purposes. So this entire mentality, which is which works in cohesion, which works in synergy, it ensures that the vulnerable girls are isolated, identified, isolated, lured, trapped, and once they have been put into some sort of a compromising position, thereafter it's very difficult for this girl to go back to her family members. And even if they go back, how are the family members going to react? For one such case which goes into the eyes, ears of the law machinery, right, and this defunct our judicial system, you start trying to ignore, and those people in the police and societal system, they want to suppress this information. आगे क्या होगा ये पता नहीं होना चाहिए. And there is a very big catchy word which is used. You know, it will cause dissonance in the society.
Yeah.
So when you speak truth, when you open up wounds, it may cause friction in the society, and therefore let it pass and slide is the norm. And this adds to the confidence of those people who are involved, because they know nobody is going to touch them. In case they get touched, it becomes a matter of greater honor that, okay, I was able to own this. Women in our societal system are more or less treated as properties, and that is a matter of shame. I think somewhere we need to encourage girls and women to come out and speak of such stuff and talk about it. If you don't talk about it, then it will continue. You imagine in UK happening all this.
Right. Say, General Pandey, what happens is, by memory, the story of ISIS widows was done by Praveen Swami, and everybody knows what happened there. They were all girls from Bharat. They'd all gone from Kerala, and they were so far radicalized that we were in a quandary. They were housed in Kabul, whether we even want them back here, because they were so far gone. The other cases, and I was investigating at a given point in time more than 10,000 such cases, but everything was brushed under the carpet or buried because of the Hadia case itself. Now, and how society and people reacted, and how there was this entire aspect to try and gloss over this reality all around us. Now, CNN News 18's findings also revealed, before I go across to Abhijit Iyer Mitra, just sharing these details with our viewers and our panelists, that children of Kerala origin jihadis are being raised in Afghanistan to become the next generation of ISIS fighters. One such case is of Nimisha Fatima, a Hindu woman from Palakkad who converted to Islam, adopted the name Fatima Isa, and travelled to Afghanistan with her husband. While her husband was later killed in 2017, their daughter, born in Nangarhar, is reportedly being trained by the ISKP operatives. In another case, Sonia Sebastian, an engineer from Ernakulam who converted to Islam and joined the ISIS, was killed in a US drone strike in 2019. She was indoctrinated in a PFI-linked safe house in Alwa before fleeing to Afghanistan. With over 2 million Keralites living in Gulf countries, intelligence officials point to a well-oiled radical funding pipeline. Radical mosques and madrasas in Kerala are being financed by Gulf-based donors, allowing the network to operate seamlessly and expand across state lines. The Uttar Pradesh police have also confirmed that Kerala-based radical groups are targeting over 50 Dalit minors annually for trafficking. Investigations linked to recent arrests in Prayagraj have revealed similar patterns, with minors being lured through offers of education and jobs before being transported out of the country. Now, this threat is not new. The 2016 Kasargod module saw 21 individuals, including women and children, radicalized in Padanna Madrasas and trafficked to Afghanistan. Of those, 16 were killed in airstrikes between 2016 and 2019, and 5 children were eventually repatriated. Now, despite repeated warnings from intelligence agencies, the network continues to evolve using forged documents, encrypted apps, and platforms like Telegram, etc., and crypto assets to avoid detection. Security agencies now consider the Kerala-Afghanistan pipeline one of the most urgent jihadi threats to Bharat. Sources say ISKP views Indian recruits as particularly valuable for propaganda and operations in South Asia, especially as regional instability is growing. Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
Thank you, Anand. So, this is, if you notice, this is a pattern across the Middle East. You remember what ISIS used to do to Yazidi and non-Muslim women in Iraq. We've seen this happen in Pakistan, where the government and the police actually collude in kidnapping. There was that very tearful, cry for help from a Hindu Pakistani assemblyman at the National Assembly last week. The problem here is you have a set of sociological things on the ground happening, which is extreme gender segregation and containment of one community's women, whereas the other community's women, multiple communities' women are quite open. They're allowed to, go out, socialize in public, talk to people from the other gender and things like that. Now, the problem is they've realized that there is a business opportunity here which comes from collusion with state authorities. And what is that collusion? It's basically fear. Because, when you have a street veto, when you can come burn down buses and things like that, I mean, you remember what happened in neighboring Karnataka with the hijab and so on and so forth. there is this fear that they will come out on the streets, become violent, and so the authorities just keep quiet because they don't want to find one girl is getting hurt. What's it to me? As long as it maintains social peace, it's perfectly fine. And this then becomes a business opportunity. The danger now is that there is great monetary benefit to this kind of recruitment and smuggling. And now that it has been financially incentivized, given all the sociological conditions on the ground, this is now becoming something very, very dangerous. The problem is you will not get anyone to actually crack down on this, because I can bet you the state authorities, it doesn't matter how the political pendulum swings in that state, will not crack down on this, because this is one of those things where, between the Congress and the current dispensation, the political margins are razor thin. They're on knife's edge. The last thing you want is a whole community alienated and going against you, voting for the other person, which skews the political calculus.
True, but Abhijit Iyer Mitra, in this case, the non-Salafi Wahhabi Muslims are also considered apostates. This is how far gone this radical sect is. And they are the ones, and there is specific funding that is coming only for this lot. They believe any other sect of Islam who does not believe in this Salafi Wahhabi way of this one thought process and so fundamentalist. Even the Saudis have shunned this now, but this is far more embedded in Kerala today. And the non-Muslims are all, non-sectarian Muslims are also considered apostates. That's the irony of it all.
So the problem here, Anand, is that, if you go to there is actual Wahhabi Salafi doctrine. Wahhabis will get very upset if you call them Wahhabis. They only call themselves Salafis. They will get very upset if you ever tell them that people like ISIS or these Kerala wannabes and, Afghan wannabes are in any way Salafi. There is a very clear Salafi doctrine established by Ibn Taymiyyah in the 1200s, which is Takfir, which is only an Arab has an interpretational monopoly over the Quran. These people who are running these networks, who are passing these judgments, they are not Salafis. In fact, they have to bow down to any Arab interpretational primacy that an Arab throws, which is why these people are treated like dirt in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, the Emirates and things like that. This is quite outside the Salafi Wahhabi fold. These people are considered takfir even by the Saudis and the Emiratis. You try kidnapping a girl, a Hindu girl or a Christian girl like this, or grooming her like this in Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, and you see what happens to you. If the police beat you up for 30 days, consider yourself blessed. It will be far worse than that. The problem here is a lacuna of law and order. It is that, they have the power of the gun, they have the power of the street veto. They're able to co-opt state authorities, and they're able to, decide whatever they want is halal or not halal in this particular case.
No, they are also able to subvert the law. That's what's happening. They have embedded their agencies and their agents in across all the wings of the judiciary, executive and administrative. And that's where the problem is, because they then get patrons and patronage, and they have so much money. Money comes in billions of dollars, and that's a shocking number when we were able to peruse those numbers. So they have the wherewithal to fund it, and they know that they just need to get one case. Like I keep saying, that one Hadia case buried all the other cases. That's what they were able to do. They concentrated their effort, and look eventually what happened to her. What happened to that entire set of law people? Where they all eventually ended up in. And nobody asked this question, that how come someone who claimed to have only an income of 3,500 or 5,000 rupees per month was able to foot a bill of more than a crore for top legal fees? Nobody asked that question. Who's backing these entities? Satya Sarani and that entire lot which currently stands banned, they are still operating. It's not that they are not, under other names and other faces. There's just more before I go back to General Pandey and Shashikantji and also come back to you, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Recent arrests in Prayagraj show ISI-backed handlers using Salafi doctrine to sanctify terror training for operations in Kashmir and with the ISIS Khorasan. According to top intelligence sources, the conversion of Dalit girls to Islam is a strategic move by the ISI and ISIS-K, executed through funds delivered by Gulf charities to Kerala-based modules. These Kerala groups exploit the Salafi Wahhabi ideology to convert Dalit girls and recruit them for terrorism, taking advantage of their discrimination and economic deprivation. Now, these revelations come after two people were detained on charges of abducting a minor girl and forcing her to convert to Islam. The incident was reported from Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh, and according to the details, the girl belonging to the Dalit community was abducted and taken to Kerala, where she was being trained for terror activities. Listen into what the survivor's mother and the Prayagraj police had to say.
मेरी रक्षा सहेली पड़ोस के रहने वाली है और मैं कोटेदार की बेटी के शादी में गए थे 8 तारीख को। उसके बाद रक्षा मेरी सहेली बोली चलो घूमने, बीच रास्ते में मुझे बताई इस्लाम अच्छा धर्म होता है और सब खराब। उसके बाद यहाँ फुल फुराई कैफ नाम के लड़का मिला, उसके फ़ोन से वो बात की ताज मोहम्मद के पास, तो बोली मैं आ रहा हूँ। फिर इसके बाद कैफ ने स्टेशन पे छोड़ा, उसके बाद फिर मैंने टिकट कटाई। उसके बाद फिर ट्रेन में बैठी, मैं रो रही थी, तो रक्षा बोली क्यों रो रही हो, रो मत, मैं जहाँ चल रही हूँ। गई फिर दिल्ली से बिना टिकट के हम लोग केरला गए। केरला से उसके बाद एक घर में रह गए, मुस्लिम लड़के थे ढेर सारे और बड़ी बड़ी दाढ़ियाँ थी और मुझ जैसी दलित लड़कियों को धर्म परिवर्तन कराते थे और जिहाद की ट्रेनिंग देते थे। और जब ये सब मैं सुनी घबरा के भाग आई।
हमारी लड़की 8 मई को दावत खाने गई थी कोटेदार के बिटिया के साथ शादी में और वहीं से गायब हो गई 10 बजे रात। उसके बाद इन्हें टिकट कटाया दरस्ता ने, उसके बाद ले गए दिल्ली पहुंच गई। दिल्ली से केरला गई, केरला से हमारे लगे फ़ोन आया था, वो बोली कि अम्मी हमको पकड़ा है, आओ छुड़ा लो। तो आए, हम पुलिस की इतला दिए थे, पुलिस ने छुड़ा के ले आए हमारी लड़की के।
15 वर्षीय नाबालिग लड़की को धर्म परिवर्तन कराने के उद्देश्य से केरल ले जाया गया तथा इस संबंध में थाना फूलपुर पर सूचना देने पर अज्ञात नंबर से फ़ोन करके गाली गलौज व जान से मारने की धमकी दी। 3 टीमों का गठन किया गया है जो इसमें गहनता से जांच करें।
So here's what intelligence sources confirm. They confirm that madrasas act as recruitment hubs. So have a look at this. Estimated around 26.9 billion amount is the amount of money that is being remitted, with many unregulated Salafi institutions offering free shelter, education and stipends to Dalit girls. So they are funding madrasas, NGOs and purely for this entire Salafi Wahhabi bent of preaching and thought process. Now, and they exclusively, and they label non-Salafi Muslims as apostates, as I was mentioning a short while ago, and glorify jihad. Dalit converts are groomed via encrypted apps, framing terrorism as defensive jihad against Hindu majoritarianism. Look how the narrative is being spun. Significant damage also stems from state governments, which often dismiss love jihad narratives as propaganda from Hindu groups. But look what these gangs are grooming young, gullible girls for terror, for jihad, for acting against the state and many a times acting against the very tenets of Islam, followed by many other sects and against even Muslims, if you were to look at it. And NIA evidence of forced conversions have been ignored. That's what sources suggest. Like I said, more than 10,000 cases the NIA had between 2016 and 2018. All of that got buried. And nobody knows what's happening to all of those cases. Nearly 30,000 girls, as claimed by the Kerala Christian Forum, said that Christian girls in Kerala have been groomed between 2006-2007 till about 2019-2020. That number is further being updated. Now, this institutional blindness also allows groups like the banned outfits, PFI and its various outfits to operate freely despite bans. Satya Sarani was one of those which claimed 3,000 conversions. Intelligence sources stress that this entire Salafi Wahhabism provides Kerala-based groups with an ideological weapon to exploit caste oppression and supported by Gulf-financed infrastructure and geopolitical alliances ranging from ISI to Al-Qaeda to globalized terror pipelines. Over 70% of terror cases languish in courts for more than 5 years. That's a lot of time, viewers. for these gangs to not just identify, track, convert, radicalize, but also get them to execute acts of terror or go to places which are nothing but hotbeds or hubs of terror. In 2024, the Kerala police released PFI bomb maker Shajir Mangalaseri due to a lack of evidence, despite NIA dossiers. Now, this impunity enables recurring recruitment. Converts adopt Arabic names and are forced into Arab dress and language, severing ties with their past, and which makes it far more difficult for them to even return. They're so far gone, mentally washed, brainwashed. General Pandey, are we aware? Can we wake up to this, and how can we counter this? Ji.
No, firstly, look, we have to understand that all this conversion, when it happens, doesn't start with the elite classes. Always starts with the Dalit and the lower, so-called lower marginalized society population. And once that conversion starts, and when it takes a shape of its own and a movement for its own, it becomes very difficult to revert that thing. So this political compulsions or political alliances or the reasons of politics in which when vote bank politics comes, people keep quiet, and all these things are brushed aside, suppressed, not talked of, while everybody in the system knows that this is happening. And it is only when some sort of a media goes into this reporting, thereafter for a period of time there is a talk about it, and thereafter it again gets suppressed, right? So that is one part. And the second, which I said, was this whole business of getting money from abroad for a variety of education systems, right, to support religious indoctrination or education or whatever it is. Why should this be allowed in our country, right? Why is this funding coming? After all, in case people have to fund their own religion, they must be allowed to use their own money inside the country and thereafter prosper.
Yeah.
But why cannot we check? So the first thing we need to check is this business of money which is coming. It is not only coming for one particular community, it's coming for so many other communities in terms of direct funding for variety of reasons. When that money comes, people don't actually have to work or work hard, and thereafter they are involved in all this kind of an activity in which they will source, they will convert, they will try and kidnap you. Imagine, Anand, that we keep on talking of conversions, forced conversions, kidnapping of girls, raping, and being used for various other purposes in countries like Bangladesh or in Pakistan. It is happening in our own country.
Yes.
Right? So tomorrow or today, when we want to actually tweet about it, some Pakistani is going to say that, look, it is being done into our own country. Why are you pointing a finger towards us? So somewhere I think our law and order machinery has to start getting slightly much more dispassionate about it and not be controlled by the political dispensation for whatever it is, to ensure that at least these poor girls are not taken out for a purpose which is not correct, you know. And once, the worst is that once these girls are taken out, this particular girl has run away and has come out. But you imagine when this girl goes out to Kerala where she can't speak the language, she's put into one little house, isolated, she doesn't know the language, doesn't know the food, and slowly when she's kept into isolation, that Stockholm mentality comes, and thereafter once she's converted, trained, groomed and sent across, then she needs to continue to prove a point about her loyalty. And after some time, after 4, 5, 6 years, the mind takes a shape of its own. It's very difficult for her to actually come about. So in this one particular case which we are just talking of, that when this girl is being offered to come back, she says, no, my orientation remains aligned to ISIS. I am a jihadi, I will do anything for that. So what, my husband has died, I will take my own daughters on the same path. The conviction and shaping of the mind, because she's got nowhere to go. Even if she comes back to the society at an age of about 20, 24, 25, then how she is going to accept that I have done this thing which was wrong, I was taken on a wrong path. Right. This becomes another level of challenge. I think we must talk about it. There should be a public awareness campaign. People who are Dalit or higher caste, lower caste, or frankly don't believe in all this. People across the entire segment should be talked about it, that okay, you may believe all religions are good, but frankly to become a human suicide bomber or a person who's going to work against your country and get out and be used as a tool by somebody else has to be talked in open domain. This thing which you're talking in media, especially in an English channel, may be heard by very few segment of evolved people who will ignore, because their daughters and their children are not being affected by this racket which is happening for the marginalized society. It has to be talked in local dialect, in the language, in those channels. So I'll rather urge you that your channel in News 18 and others who have got local language channels, they need to talk about it much openly. You imagine a modern country like UK, they suppress this information for such a long time, and eventually even while coming out into parliament, they still try to bury. That even the current prime minister is trying to say, start wish-wash the entire thing. It is a life problem, and this life problem, when they'll come back to your own community, they will not only groom, these girls will groom furthermore frankly number of people. They are going to be threat to society.
Well, your suggestion taken, sir, and point well made, but it's far closer to us than we realize. That's what, if you are looking around in society, we'll understand that. Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Shashikant ji, final words before we move on. Ji, Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
Well, I'll just, please.
So look, sir identified the problem very clearly. This is ultimately a case of your own law enforcement agencies taking this very seriously. You cannot have the kind of conflicts of interest in running the police that we're seeing right now. Okay, everything gets politicized, which it will in a democracy. But the problem is, it is one thing getting politicized, and it is quite another for the police not to be doing what they should be doing in the normal course of things, or suffer career consequences for doing what they should be doing. That, unfortunately, is the reality of this. The solution to this is actually quite straightforward. It is on one side the policing aspect of things, and on the second it is social sensitization. You know, why are these people able to isolate these girls and take them away from the family? It's because the family feels some kind of shame and things like that. You need to start having social education where the girl always feels welcome back to the family, always feels part of the family, always feels loved and things like that. It is a two-part solution. It is very straightforward. It is surprising we're not doing it, because the longer we put this off, the more the problem metastasizes.
Shashikant ji?
Yeah, well, I'll take another dimension now. A lot has been said about this problem. But to my mind, as a former intelligence officer, is that there are lots of such girls who have converted, but they're still here. These are basically what we call in our language, they are going to be the sleeper cells. Whenever any such thing happens, look, whatever started from Northeast, the same thing is happening here. They've got a large number of sympathizers in Northeast who are playing ball with the Chinese or these missionaries abroad. The same thing is happening here. So lots of these girls who have got themselves converted, who have not come into notice, they will continue to act as the sleeper cells. You know what happens whenever there is any problem, it's very difficult to catch hold of the persons who has hurled a bomb or killed some person. Where do they go? They remain here. They just go to the sleeper cells. These guys, sleeper cells I'm talking of, they provide them with money, they provide them with a shelter. Whatever is happening externally, our forces, our intelligence agencies certainly can cope up with that. But what my worry is, what these agencies are doing as far as the internal threat to our India's security from within the country arises. They are not serious. And again, talking about judiciary, you know what happened in the Ajmer case. It went on for decades and decades. The cases have been suppressed, as General Pandey has rightly said. Nobody takes action. But to my worry as a former intelligence officer is that I really dread these sleeper cells who have been active in Punjab. They were also indoctrinated. They are lying low. The same kind of thing is happening in this case. That's what my, not only gut, but I know because I keep on talking to my colleagues, various DGPs, etc., all over the country. And this is what my fear is. Thank you, sir.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Shashikant ji, for joining us. General Pandey, do stay on with us as we move on to our next story. And this is a point of conversation. There's been controversy over, the Indian Defence Attaché's remarks on the IAF losses in Operation Sindoor. The Indian embassy in Indonesia said that the remarks made by its defense attaché at a recent seminar in which he indicated that the Indian Air Force lost jets to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor due to political constraints were taken out of context and misrepresented. The clarification followed with the Congress after the Congress latched on to the Navy officer's admission and accused the government of misleading the nation on military losses suffered during a 4-day conflict with Pakistan in May. Now, this is what Operation Sindoor achieved. The Indian Air Force completed the mission in only 23 minutes. Pakistan's China-supplied air defense was bypassed and jammed. IAF's operation demonstrated Bharat's technological edge. The IAF used loitering munitions to devastating effect. Air defense weapons like Pechora, the LRAD guns thwarted Pakistan. The indigenous systems like Akash showed stellar performance. Chinese PL-15 missiles and Turkish origin the Yiha UAVs were neutralized. Pakistan's long-range rockets, quadcopters and drones failed. Now these are the also, let's have a look at this. These are the 11 Pakistan air bases that were pummeled between 9th and 10th. These are the 11 Pakistan bases and also the 9 terror hubs. These were precision strikes. Skardu Air Base, Nur Khan Air Base, Murid Air Base, Chakwal, Sargoda, Pasroor, Gujranwala, Rafiki, Shorkot, Rahim Yar Khan, Jacobabad, Sukur, Bholari, Okara, and the entire Lahore, Sialkot, Malir Cantonment, Karachi terror bases. They were all attacked during Operation Sindoor. Muzaffarabad, Bagh, Kotli, Gulpur, Bhimbar, Chakamru, Murid-ke, Bahawalpur. All of these were attacked, pummeled, decimated. All of this happened within 20-25 minutes of time and over a span of 90 hours. So what should be more important to us as a country? Number of aircrafts that Bharat lost or our forces lost, or the 90-hour victory that pummeled Pakistan? What should matter more? Lieutenant General D.B. Pandey stays on with us. General Pandey, your thoughts on this?
You know, I have been watching with great dismay this whole conversation, not only about what the naval DA in Indonesia has said and how it is being politicized. I just want to ask a question through your channel to anybody who's tweeting and tasking and going asking the government or whosoever they want. This question is being asked to which constituency? Are they asking the political dispensation? That are there military losses or what they have achieved? Or they are trying to directly target the military forces, armed forces, for whatever has happened in the period of 88 hours or 90 hours. This needs to be segregated. The third part, which part of national security anybody who's in media, layman, or in any part or any side of the political establishment doesn't understand. National security is the level of national, and security comes with certain degree of confidentiality of what we have done and what has been done to us. When the documents of 1962, 1971, they have been kept under wraps. Why are we so excited that we want to know what exactly has transpired into an 88 hours, especially by the people who are not responsible directly or accountable for it? The entire operation, I will just try and briefly, while you have talked of successes, you know, when I look at as a professional or a person who looks at military operations or political military objectives, I look at it, there were a couple of objectives which were set when Pahalgam happened. The first major military objective was to strike at the terror hubs and send a message across to the Pakistanis that in case you're going to hide terror headquarters, your terror bosses anywhere in the corner of your country, it may be in POJK, which is ours, or it may be in Pak Punjab where you thought that we are not going to come and hit. We will come and hit them wherever they are. I'm actually not, a lot of people have asked me this question. I don't look at the numbers being hit. It is a signaling, it is symbolism, it is a declaration of intent, right? That we aren't going to go to the world with dossiers here and after. We will
Right.
come after you wherever you are there.
Right.
So next time you make a new headquarters in Bahawalpur, Muridke or elsewhere, we'll come hitting for you.
Right.
The second is, there is a political objective. There is a political objective to put Pakistan into mat at the political and their political military leadership, for which there are other tools which have to be utilized. They are in diplomatic realm, they are in the realm of in IWT, in economic realm. So that tools are being exploited by the government of India and will continue to get exploited. But when you are asking that what were losses, how did it happen, who was at fault, you are trying to carry out a tactical level inquiry mission on a national security aspect which are related to military forces in the realm of armed forces, right? When you go for an operation, I'll go back very quickly. I wrote a paper on it, and it was very, this thing on restraint in Kargil. The restraint in Kargil, Anand, the Indian armed forces were very unhappy when the political dispensation of that time said that we will not escalate, we will not go beyond Kargil, sector where the intrusions have taken. We will only carry out, we will evict the intrusion, and we will do X, Y, Z, but will be limited to a geographical area,
Right.
and we will finish our job and thereafter stop the war, right? It paid off in such outs handsomely to us that we were a country which was under sanction isolation. We came out totally as a responsible nation, and we were actually the people who were getting engaged by the rest of the world because of our responsible actions, right? So now let's relate to this. In case there is a talk which happens, there's a discussion happens when the decision is being taken with the national security establishment, which includes the military establishment, which says that what options can we execute in the given framework where we have to. If our aim is Viksit Bharat, we are not going to get into a long drawn fight, right? Look at the comparison what Israel and Iran have done.
Yeah.
They have wound up this operation, which was such a very, very engaging operation in 12 days, right? They could have also gone for a long drawn operation, would fight a battle and carry on, get sunk in it. Is there an Israeli establishment, Iranian establishment asking their respective governments how many air defense losses you had, how many aircrafts have you lost, how many bombs did you fire, how many people died? Nobody is asking. There's nothing which is coming out. It is somewhere in our Indian democratic system where everybody layman who's walking on the street is also wanting to know kitne gaye the tumhare, tumne unke kitne mare. We are not looking at the major successes we have. So what has happened is that as we are counting cherries, as we are looking at very, very low end stuff and talking of it, the larger aims and objectives which our country has achieved in this merely 88 hours of environment operations, we are losing out on the narrative. India is not losing the narrative abroad. We are losing the narrative inside because people are unnecessarily asking questions which are wrong questions. They should be asking a question: have you achieved your political mission? Yes, we have, or we have not. That is what the political dispensation to ask.
Correct.
Answer a question. Have we been able to destroy X, Y, Z of this thing by applying? How much force we were able to apply? That the military will apply.
True.
Somebody has to ask, why did Pakistani DGMO came out asking for ceasefire? Why did they bend so fast? We are not asking for these things. People are not asking good questions.
No, not just that. See,
how did you maintain an escalation control?
Correct. No, the fair questions are the ones that you are saying we should ask. But I think as a nation, we are somewhere conditioned that when we fight, we will not get hurt or we will not have losses. This zero casualty, zero loss victory is something which does not happen. Even on a street fight, you will punch the other person thrice or 10 times, but there will be one punch that you will get. So are you going to count that one punch you got? Or are you going to fight that you downed the opponent? It's a simple mentality of a fight. And I think as a nation, we need to think in that direction. General Pandey, thank you. Always a pleasure speaking with you. I have to move on for the moment. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now moving on to Tamil Nadu, a video linked to the alleged custodial death of 27-year-old Ajith Kumar in Tamil Nadu Sivaganga district, reportedly showing him being beaten by members of a police special team, was exclusively accessed here at CNN News 18 earlier this afternoon. Now in the footage recorded on a mobile phone, a temple worker Ajith Kumar is seen being beaten with lathi by police personnel. The cops in their statement said that he slipped and fell. Does he look like slipping and falling in the pictures? The cops picked up Kumar for questioning on the 27th of June after a woman filed a complaint saying her gold jewellery kept in a bag went missing after she gave her keys to Kumar to park her car near the Madapuram Bhadrakali Amman temple. Kumar's brother alleged that cops beat them after taking them into custody. Kumar was declared dead after he was taken to a hospital on the 29th of June after complaining of discomfort. The state government has ordered a judicial inquiry even as Kumar's family protested, alleging police brutality. Now, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin spoke with Ajith's family. He actually, via DMK minister, called them and spoke with them, and he said, "I am very sorry, stay strong, we have taken serious action." Listen in.
நடக்கூடாது நடந்துருச்சு, தைரியமா இருங்க. நான் ஆக்ஷன் எடுக்க சொல்லியிருக்கேன். என்ன ஹெல்ப் பண்ண சொல்றேன் அமைச்சர்கிட்ட சொல்லி எடுத்துட்டு இருக்கேன். தைரியமா இருங்க.
இல்லைங்க சார், விசாரணைக்கு கூட்டு போயிட்டு இந்த மாதிரிலாம்
அதான் நடந்துச்சு. உடனே ஆக்ஷன் எடுத்துருக்கோம்.
சரிங்க சார்.
அரெஸ்ட் பண்ணியாச்சு எல்லாரையும்.
சரிங்க சார்.
நீங்க தைரியமா இருங்க. உங்களுக்கு என்ன பண்ணணுமோ அப்புறம் சொல்றேன்.
இல்லைங்க சார், பையன் வயசு வந்து 29 வயசுங்க சார். எங்க அம்மா வந்து எங்க அப்பா வந்து சின்ன வயசுல இறந்துட்டாங்க. நான் வந்து லூக்கன்ற ஒரு பிரைவேட் கம்பெனியில் ஒர்க் பண்றேன் சார். ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு வளர்த்த பிள்ளை சார் அவன். ரொம்ப எங்க அம்மா சொல்லுங்க.
யாருமே ஏற்றுக்க முடியாது, ஒத்துக்க முடியாது. அதுக்கு என்ன தண்டனை வாங்கி கொடுத்துருவேன். தைரியமா இருங்க.
சரிங்க சார். ஓகே சார்.
What Thiru Stalin, the Chief Minister, has told the brother right now is that nobody can bring them back, but whatever is the punishment that is deserving, I will work hard to get it. Whatever the punishment is I will try and work hard to get it. But is that enough? Kalyan Raman of the BJP is with us and C. Rajashekharan also with us. My namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Mr. Kalyan Raman, the Chief Minister himself personally assuring that we will take care of the family but also ensure this is not repeated and the strictest of punishment is meted out to the perpetrators.
I simply have one question, whether he is reading out from a piece of paper or reading out from his mind. This is a simple question. Stalin will always read from a piece of paper. What kind of assurance is this?
Sir, right now, I'm interrupting you, sir, but there is an update that Stalin has said that the Tamil Nadu government will extend full cooperation to the CBI, and he has also directed transferring the probe into Sivaganga custodial death to the CBI. He's also said central investigation can come. CBI can investigate the matter. TN government will cooperate. Now, sir.
See, CBI is a default thing because somebody has gone to the court and the court is bound to order for a CBI inquiry because it is done by governmental agencies right under the nose of Stalin himself, who is the Home Minister himself. So, having killed somebody, it is a clear case of murder. For murder, they was just suspended to begin with. When the hue and cry started about the murder, then somebody goes to the court. Prior to that, they said that this guy stumbled upon, the victim stumbled upon and then got injured. What kind of nonsense is this? We have a puppet CM called Stalin who doesn't understand anything. Whatever is given in a piece of paper alone, he mutters. He is simply muttering what is written. What nonsense is this? Somebody is killing right under your nose, under your control, and you don't have any control over it. You don't even file a case of murder against them. And then when somebody raises the issue, goes to the court, then you file an FIR saying that he stumbled upon and got injured. Doesn't he know that how it has happened? He has got a huge intelligence under the Senthil Velan, from whom he gets a report on a daily basis, not only daily basis, on an hourly basis, if required on a momentary basis, he is supposed to get. That is the role of Stalin as Home Minister all about. He is simply reading out from a piece of paper. It is utter nonsense.
Okay.
This assurance, very fortunately, the matter will go to the CBI. If not, they will simply close the case saying that it is a murder. There are 24 murders by the police department in the last 4 years.
So,
24,
yeah.
not 1 or 2.
24
In
custodial
Chennai
deaths.
itself, so many of them.
Yeah. See, Rajashekaran, it's because
Exactly.
of public
Murders.
pressure,
We
cold,
let us call them as murders.
public pressure, anger, and also the video surfacing that exposes the cops and also the courts taking cognizance. It's pressure and it's also dictated letter. It is not a suo moto action, heartfelt action by the Tamil Nadu
Nothing
government.
about it.
Okay. Let's see Rajashekaran respond. Yes, Mr. Rajashekaran.
Anand, my heart goes to the family of the deceased, Ajith Kumar, who had been brutally killed by the 5 head constable and constable. The main culprit is that Raja, the head constable with the yellow T-shirt, and he is the person who had been consistently hitting him in front of the temple because there was a complaint against that fellow, Ajith Kumar, the deceased, that a lady who had given a complaint had given her car and 10 sovereigns of gold ornaments of her mother were stolen from the car. And all this put in a nutshell, the HRNC department had said that this fellow is responsible. The officer of the HRNC department has told the police, local police, that Ajith Kumar is responsible for that missing of that gold ornaments. So based on that, a special team was formed and this incident happened. It's very unfortunate, highly condemnable. See, equally, you should go by the merits of the case. This is not the 24 case which Kalyan Raman is referring. It is only the 4th case. All of the 20 other cases are different cases, not custodial death. This is also not a custodial death. A custodial death means you arrest a person, arrest the accused, take him into the police station, and you hit him black and blue, and he dies in the police custody. It's custodial death. But this case is not a custodial death. It happened in front of a temple. And of course, the police are responsible. They have been arrested, remanded. And the highest section of the
what did they say initially, that he slipped from the stairs? Why did they say that?
Anand, see, a post-mortem report takes 24 hours, but in this case it took 48 hours. Point number 1. Before 48 hours,
why did it take 48 hours?
The report.
No, please allow me.
The postmortem
Yes, Kalyan
report
Ramanji.
is influenced by the government.
Don't take me. I am not defending anybody. I am going by the merits of the
How
matter.
a postmortem report comes? How a postmortem report comes saying that he stumbled? It comes because it is influenced.
Okay, I'll tell you. First of all, understand. I have no brief to defend the government or the police, but I am only speaking whatever is available before the 4th Honorable High Court, and the judicial inquiry has been ordered. The matter has been immediately transferred to CBI.
Why did somebody?
And the CBI is going to take over. See, let us go by the chronology of the
It's a
case.
simple. It's the question that's being asked.
Anand, please understand.
Mr. Rajashekaran.
Please understand. Let me speak.
Okay.
If you keep on
Okay, complete, and then 30 seconds complete, and then Mr. Kalyan Raman responds.
Please give me 30 seconds at least. See, this is an unfortunate case, a freak case. I totally agree with you. I don't support or I don't defend anybody. But the police and the government has immediately sprung into action. They have arrested everybody. The SP has been transferred. The DSP has been dismissed. And the 302 murder has been filed. FIR has been filed. And CBI inquiry has been ordered. CBCID and CBI both have taken cognizance of it. A judicial district magistrate has been appointed to give the report. And everything has happened in the span of 48 hours. And what more you expect? This is a freak incident. This is the 3rd incident.
Is it a freak incident? Are you convinced it's a freak incident, Kalyan Ramanji? Final word.
Definitely it's a freak incident because the poor people.
Okay, now your 30
Rajashekaran,
seconds is
you should
over.
allow
Please,
me to talk now.
yes, Mr. Kalyan Raman.
Yeah. First of all, there was absence of FIR before the guy is taken into custody. Okay. So, in the absence of FIR, if somebody is taken into custody, then it is Jungle Raj.
Right.
It is not a government. Stalins is not running a government, he is running a Jungle Raj. Okay?
Right.
We are talking about a particular case. We can go to any particular case in UP. We can talk about it if you are so interested. Let's talk about Tamil Nadu and the Jungle Raj under MK Stalin.
Right.
So we'll only talk about that.
No FIR.
Stalin does not know anything about governance. As simple as that.
Let's see what the people have to say, what the CBI says in its investigation. Thank you very much, to our panelists. On the way out in the Kasbah case in Kolkata, just quick update as we wind up this edition of The Right Stand. Manojit and his 2 associates have been sent to police custody till the 8th of July. Pinaki, the security guard, has been sent into police custody till the 4th of July. Thank you for watching.
Co-presented by. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And we are getting a piece of breaking news. EM Jaishankar calls out Pakistan in the United Nations. He said that any state-sponsored terrorism must be exposed. He said this at United Nations Anti-Terrorism Exhibition. Jaishankar urges global community to act against terrorism. That is a big statement that is coming in from External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, where he has called out Pakistan at the United Nations. And we are joined by Akancha Surup on this broadcast. Akancha, that is a strong statement coming in from S. Jaishankar. How do you see this?
Absolutely. Harsh must keep in mind that he's directly taken a jibe, or he's directly indicated Pakistan's role in the Pahalgam terror attack when he said that no impunity should be given to terrorists, no treating them as proxies, no yielding to nuclear blackmail. This is exactly what even the US had hinted at, that there was a massive threat, which is why India had, there was an understanding also that had been made. And any state sponsorship must be exposed and must be countered. So important to highlight that the External Affairs Minister is making that point at the UN Assembly on anti-terrorism and urged the global community to act. He also referred to that resolution which was passed by the UN 5 weeks ago, condemning the terror act in Pahalgam on 22nd of April. So he wants to make a point to the UN, to the larger international community. It's also part of the broader push under Operation Sindoor, soon after our multi-party delegation went visiting across the globe. So important to also highlight that the Pak Army Chief Asim Munir was in the United States. He met Donald Trump, and Saturday at the naval parade, at the passing out parade of the Navy in Pakistan, he's gone on to talk about how what India may treat as terrorism is a legitimate struggle for them. They will continue to back terrorists diplomatically, militarily, in whatever way possible. So Asim Munir again, instigating the sentiments over there and playing the rabble-rouser that he has. So for the External Affairs Minister to make that point is a very significant one. It's also part of his visit where, remember, he's attending that Quad foreign ministerial meet at the behest of the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And it's also a reminder to the United States that if they regard India as a strategic ally, one that is an integral partner to the United States in the Quad grouping, then they will also have to address concerns of India when it comes to terrorism, because remember, India is going to be playing the Quad chair this year.
Right. Akancha, I would request you to stay on with us as we are getting another piece of breaking news. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on Monday confirmed that the United States and India are close to finalizing a trade agreement. Her comments came shortly after Trump voiced optimism about finalizing the trade pact with India. And we'll listen in to the White House Press Secretary's bite.
Yes, the president said that last week, and it remains true. I actually just spoke to our Secretary of Commerce about it. He was in the Oval Office with the president. They are finalizing these agreements, and you'll hear from the president and his team, his trade team, very soon when it comes to India.
And we have Akancha on this broadcast. Akancha, does this mean a trade deal is right around the corner between US and India?
Absolutely. And when they are saying that India is a strategic ally and that Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi share a good relationship, Caroline Levitt has also highlighted how she's been in touch with their Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, and he was in the Oval Office with the President finalizing agreements, is only an indication that perhaps they are in, at that point of finalizing the deal. Not to forget the fact, Harsh, most importantly, that Indian officials have also extended their Washington visit only to reach these agreements on the trade deal. They were supposed to finalize it by Friday last, but
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. A young temple guard by name B. Ajith Kumar was brutally beaten up by the police in Tamil Nadu's Sivaganga district. Now, the police initially tried to cover this whole thing up, but now CCTV footage has emerged of what is clear. It is daylight torture. He's been beaten with sticks, he's been kneed, he's been elbowed, and all this while from the footage you can see that Ajith Kumar, who is accused of theft of some valuables, he is begging and pleading with the cops. Now, some of these cops are wearing what they call mufti clothes so that their identities are not revealed. But somebody managed to capture this on mobile phone, and this footage, you can see it's been captured through some kind of a windowsill. This is clearly showing the extent of brutality that's been unleashed on this young individual. Like I said, the police initially tried to cover it up. In the FIR, they mentioned that he slipped and fell, but the death now clearly happens to be because of the torture that he suffered in judicial custody, in police custody, I must add. So the question is, why should, in this day and age, in the 21st century, the police not be held to the same standard that the enforcers of the law, the rule enforcers, who the cops are, they hold all of society to? Why should they not be held to the same standard? There are numerous Supreme Court verdicts that have come out against such torture, against such extrajudicial custodial killing, as it were. The question then is, will the Tamil Nadu government listen?